Working with retirees, I get a lot of questions about Social Security. And here are three main misconceptions and just educational items that I think everyone should really try to understand to be able to maximize your benefits. And so, as we hop in here, these are the three items I'm going to cover: the spousal benefit, which a lot of people miss, working while you're claiming and whether or not you get reduced benefits, and then an additional tax and investment strategy. It's the way that I like to use Social Security with my clients. So first and foremost, we have to talk about the basics. So the basics are really that your FRA, your full retirement age for those born after 1960, is age 67. So at age 67, you get 100% of your benefit, but you can claim it early and late, and there are reasons to do both. If you claim it early, you can claim it as early as age 62, and each year, really each month, your benefit is reduced. And if you go all the way to age 62, you're only going to get 70% of your benefit. And there are a lot of people who just need to turn it on. Cash flow is tight, so they have to turn it on. And that's fine. But most of my clients are turning it on at age 67, where they get 100%, or even age 70, where you get 24%. So as you extend, you get an 8% increase per year. And no matter along this continuum when you choose to start your benefit, you are going to get a cost of living adjustment along the way. So really important, as you extend, you get an 8% increase. As you take it earlier, it's about a 6.5% decrease down to age 64-ish, and then it goes to 5% a year. But let's cover one of the things that I think is very often missed, especially for my clients, a lot of oil and gas folks who were primary earners. Maybe they have a stay-at-home spouse who decided to exit the workforce. A lot of people forget about the spousal benefit. The spousal benefit states that you as a spouse can get up to 50% of your spouse's benefit. So if the higher earning spouse has a $45,000 benefit, you can actually get $22,500 yourself. And if you have a benefit of $30,000 instead, then obviously you would take your benefit. But there are a lot of people out there who one spouse is high earner, the other one only has a $10,000 benefit. It can make a lot of sense to narrow in on the right strategy for you and your plan. Now, a couple things to know: the primary earner has to have filed. And, just traditionally, a lot of times the primary earner is older than the secondary earner or lower earning spouse. And so it generally makes sense that they would need to wait. And sometimes that can actually change the calculus to say, well, we actually shouldn't wait till age 70 to get the full increase, because by claiming it slightly early, that allows your spouse to be able to turn on theirs as well. So many things go into this, and Social Security can be claimed every single month. There's 80 plus instances where you can claim your Social Security, another 80 for your spouse. It depends who turns on when and where. It doesn't cost the primary earner anything if their spouse is on their benefit. There are no delayed credits on the spousal. It's higher of yours or 50%. Now, the other thing, though, that you have to think about is when the primary spouse passes away, you get to step up to their benefit. This is no longer the spousal, but rather the widowed benefit, the surviving spousal benefit. You get to step up to their benefit. So sometimes it does make sense to still have the primary earner wait until age 70, because you're going to step up to that in the future. Other times too, where people like to kind of play the system a little bit, is take your own benefit at 62 and then wait until your primary spouse claims, and then you step on to 50% of the benefit. The issue, though, is that your 50% of the benefit gets reduced. So really you get 70% of the 50%, so 35%. So the more you know, a little complicated. Let's go to the next one, though. This is one I hear all the time. And this is, well, what happens if I still want to work while I claim my benefit? And my take would be, why would you claim your benefit if you're still going to be working? And I think that For some, it's more of a, well, I claimed at 62 because cash flow was tight, but then I actually got a part-time job and now I'm making money. And here's the thing. You can make up to 24,480 in 2026 before you start getting docked a little bit. And the way that it works is every dollar above that, or every $2 rather, you get reduced your benefit by $1. So let's say you make $50,000 and your benefit is $25,000. Well, you made 50. So up to that, let's just call it 25,000. That next 25,000 you were going to get, you only get half of that because you get a $1 for every 2 that you earned above that. Now, here's the thing. This is what everyone misses. You get that withholding back at age 67. So once you get to your full retirement age, you get those dollars back. Now, the way that it works is basically they take all the withholding, they assume that in monthly terms, if you were to add that back in instead of at 62, let's say, for example, you have 14 equivalent months of withholding. Well, then they're going to say instead of age 62, at age 67, they're going to recalculate it and say that you actually took it at age 63 in 2 months. So they're going to give you that additional back at age 67. So I think it's just an excuse that people say, oh, I already claimed my benefit. Now I can't work anymore. And I totally get that as well. Another caveat, in your full retirement age year, it's only $1 withheld for every $3 over that amount. And then once you reach age 67, you can earn unlimited. So you could have your earnings and your Social Security benefit. But my thought and question would be, well, why don't you just extend? If you're still working and cash flow is not needed, why don't you just get that 8% a year increase to this guaranteed cost of living adjusted pension? So that's my 2 cents. The withholding is not lost. Okay, let's go into this next one, which is delaying is longevity protection. So this is my 2-parter on the tax side and the investment side. Well, I guess before we get there, delaying is longevity protection. We already talked about this. It is if you delay, your spouse is going to get your benefit, or if you want to try to solve for the fact that you have a long history of longevity, you want to delay to get those increases that's going to be cost of living adjusted. If you're in the die with zero camp, this is a really good way to extend your benefits as well. There's always a break even for this. So if you take it at age 62 versus age 70, there's a break even. Maybe that's living past age 82. And so you've got to take longevity into the equation, because if you think that, hey, I paid in all this money to get these benefits, my realistic lifetime is really only going to be to about age 75. Everyone in my family has heart issues, whatever it might be. You probably want to claim earlier, but you have to consider both spouses and your overall plan. Now let's get to what I wanted to talk to, which is the tax planning and investment strategy. So on the tax planning end, many of my clients have done very well. They have high benefits. They have really high pre-tax IRA 401k balances. That's another reason why you'd want to extend your benefits longer. You want to extend the benefits longer because your Social Security benefits can be taxed. Up to 85% of the benefit itself can be taxed without a whole lot of earnings. And when people are doing Roth conversions to try to reduce their required minimum distributions, generally at age 75, it doesn't make sense to add on Social Security to that mix. You start adding in Social Security, you're going to have more taxes on your Social Security, and you might even be addressing or hitting the Medicare IRMA surcharges. So another reason to extend from a tax perspective if you're doing Roth conversions. Now, the second thing, and I don't think anyone ever thinks about this, many advisors don't even think about this. When you're going into retirement, I like people to have at least 5 years worth of reserves. Now, that can be a little bit aggressive for some. I'll go up to 7 to 10 years, but really any more than that, we're getting a cash drag. Equities tend to outperform. Past performance is not indicative of future results. But here's the thing. The silver bullet, especially for early retirees, is that in the event of a bear market, we can turn on your Social Security early, and then we don't have to sell investments that have gone down in value. So that's why the second one here, B, says income you can switch on. So we're going to have 5 years worth of cash flow in retirement. But let's say that we have the worst bear market we've ever seen, and we start burning through those 5 years. We can turn on Social Security early. We know we're going to have a haircut by taking it earlier or not increasing or delaying, but that might be better than selling your equities at a discount. So incredibly valuable in my opinion. Takeaways here are, before you file, you want to have a comprehensive plan. You want to be thinking about the rest of you and your spouse's life. You want to think about longevity for the two of you. There's a lot of great calculators out there that have simple questionnaires, and a lot of it just comes down to, do you smoke, do you drink, those types of things. But you want to take into consideration the long-term planning to be able to make these individualized decisions. So yeah, you can earn a paycheck up to a certain amount. You're going to get the money back if you start making more than you otherwise thought you would. And you should definitely treat it as a part of your investment strategy as well. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks.